That's right. Welcome back, folks, to a spring football for Notre Dame can indeed be a fresh start and a clean slate that we desperately need. Edition of the Always Irish on Vacation show. Thank you for being here. You can find the program on YouTube, as you probably already have. Hit subscribe if you haven't yet. Appreciate it very much. Give the video a thumbs up. That helps with me as well. Notifications on, that way you'll be alerted every time a new episode drops. You don't want to miss it. Twitter search bar Always Irish or at Always Irish Inc. Emails alwaysirishnd@gmail.com. Audio only anywhere you want me. You could get me calling line 312-900-8815. Tell Johnny all you heard and seen. Going to be popping when I get back from vacation. I got a feeling people are going to have a lot to say. Good, bad, in the middle. There's just been a lot going on. Go figure. John picks the time to go to Florida, thinking it'll be the dead of winter after the football season, but before spring and blue and gold. This should be a low time with not a lot going on. Should be a perfect time for me to escape and not have Notre Dame stuff. And I feel like I'm missing not doing shows. Sure enough, everything happens right when I go to get. It's just the way it goes. But here we are. We're doing the best we can. Irish Wire, check it out. Part of your Notre Dame routine every day, folks. So here we are. Approaching spring, spring, new beginnings, a fresh start, new life, Easter, like all of these springy life renewal, bright color, like a white, clean slate, like new beginnings, all those things that like people associate with spring and what it means. When that time comes back around, things come back to life in a new way. And I feel like Notre Dame really needs to lean into that kind of thinking this spring. You have two tracks here, as I've been talking about recently. You have one track, which is like the perceptual issues Notre Dame has right now, naturally surrounding the hire of the offensive coordinator and all the shots from all the national media of, Notre Dame's cheap, not willing to spend, all those headlines. All of that. Like, you have all that big picture kind of stuff, and wrapped into that are the concerns about the process. Like, how did Notre Dame handle it? What did they mess up, if anything? Like, they're going to say they didn't, but it's obvious something went wrong to me. It's just obvious. If you look at how it all played out, it's obvious something didn't go right. So we can argue about what, but something did not all line up right. There were mistakes made. It's clear. It's clear. I don't care what Jack said last week. Mistakes were made, but they're never going to tell you. So some of this is perceptual, big picture stuff, how we're looked at, that I don't appreciate. The process behind the scenes, me feeling uncomfortable about how Notre Dame's doing all this stuff because something went off the rails. But then there's the second track of this. And the second track is on the field. We got a new offensive coordinator. We have an hopefully exciting offense coming in. And so that's the second track. That's the one Notre Dame needs to lean into hard in the spring. The best thing that can happen right now for Notre Dame is to have an exciting spring practice session. I can't believe I'm saying this. I don't think I've ever said this. The blue and gold game might be a big deal this spring. In a weird way, it might be a big deal. A bigger deal than I should make it. But I think it could eliminate some Notre Dame fan stress if they go out there in blue and gold and run an exciting, fun offense and open the field up and stretch it, and we're throwing the ball around, and there's some new wrinkles that are obvious, adding on to some of the stuff we still want to get, physical running, all that. I think if the offense looks more aggressive and modern, people will be happy. And I just think that can really help, because there's some uncertain vibes going on right now. There's some really uncertain vibes. And the stuff that's perceptual and procedural behind the scenes, we don't really have access to or answers to. We get talking points, but that's not what's really going on. So you're not going to see the things being worked on there. But what we can see is Parker coming in there and wanting to show something off in the blue and gold game. And if that happened, Notre Dame fans are going to feel a lot better about things as you exit spring ball and have the huge layoff into the summer with nothing but questions and what's this going to be and all that. So having a great spring practice full session and blue and gold game, that's not going to change the national narrative. Like, nobody cares about a scrimmage except for your own fan base. Like, nobody does. Okay, so it isn't going to change that narrative. But internal, the way we're all worrying, it can help alleviate some of that. You could leave spring saying, I still wonder what got messed up when they tried to hire, the first time around and hire. I still wonder what went wrong there. But at least we ended up with Parker, and he's a Notre Dame guy that we all like his personality, want him to succeed and to look good. That's the best Notre Dame could do in the position they put themselves in. That's the other thing. Notre Dame's not a victim in this. Notre Dame created the circumstances that have the national narrative be what it is and have the fan base questioning what's going on. Notre Dame did this. They are not victims in this. They created this. Make that clear. So if you go out and have a physical, modern, exciting spring and spring game, that's their best way to start softening the feel of this up. Because there's a lot of people that are in a feisty mood about all this right now, and I understand why, because I'm one of them. So that's the best thing that can happen, is put together an exciting spring and exciting spring game, okay? It would go a long way to lightening the emotional load here and deflecting some bullets that are coming from every direction rhetorically about this program right now. Now, on the flip side, I don't think this will happen. But if we somehow spring looks real sloppy and the blue and gold game looks like a mess, you're going to have the opposite effect. And that's what I mean when I say this is a big spring game, because in a big spring session, because the way things are, you're going in at a deficit into spring. You're not going in neutral and we see what happens. We're entering this with negativity and negative press. Notre Dame's behind. So I need them to kind of dig out, have a really surprisingly good spring in blue and gold with some awesome new stuff to start kind of digging out of that negative hole that we've been in the last few weeks, unfortunately. So Notre Dame needs to attack spring hard. And I'm not one of those guys who usually looks at it that way, but Notre Dame's finding themselves in a very vulnerable spot here. And the only thing they can do to soften any of it is look good in the spring and be exciting. And then we'll go into the long summer break with people all like, okay, the Ludwig thing was a mess and all this, it was weird. And I don't know what happened. And I don't appreciate being asked to donate when I know we have all this money and all that. The best thing you could do is have a good spring and spring game. I'm telling you, it would just make everybody feel so much more comfortable with what's going on. So the blue and gold game itself was already going to be a big deal. It would be year 1 to year 2. You would have the new quarterback. You would have some of these young wide receivers out there. Like it was already going to be a big deal. I think it's supremely important that Notre Dame looks good and efficient and exciting in that game, because internally it's like the number one thing they can do to make us all feel a little better and calm down about, quite frankly, the bad vibes that have been around. So I don't want to overplay it, because it's still just a spring practice session, and you get into the blue and gold and it's like, is the offense good or the defense bad? Is the defense bad and the offense good? Are they both no good? Are they both really good? It's really hard to tell. Offensively, light it up. That is the number one thing you could do. Light it up, dial it up, have fun with it. Let them guys run, stretch the field, show some modern wrinkles, still be physical. I need you to do all that, because people are looking. Notre Dame people want to feel good. We're looking for a reason to feel good about where this all ended. The process and how we get there is going to be analyzed and questioned, and I've been doing that, and it needs to happen. accountability on why that all went sideways so big picture. But practically, you need to light this up and have Notre Dame fans going, all right, like Parker, let's roll this new offense. Let's light it up. And we're excited to get into the year and have a big test against Ohio State undefeated. That's got to be the goal. That's where people need to be looking already as the end point of this. You roll in there, run an exciting offense, be undefeated, and then beat Ohio State. You want to eliminate some of the perceptual problems and the bad headlines and everything else. That's the best thing you can do. Go undefeated the first few games you have more talent than, and then beat Ohio State at your place when they're coming in with a younger quarterback into your place. That's how you earn respect back and some dignity back from a process that has been upsetting. That's how. That's the path. And it all starts in this spring session. I want those guys mad. I want them fired up. I want it to be us against the world. We're going to prove everybody wrong. That's all they can do. That's all they can do. And we're going to prove that the press wrong and John wrong and everybody else. And Parker deserves to be fully encouraged. He did nothing wrong in any of this. We got to encourage him. There's some young guys that are going to be a big part of this offense. There's a lot to hopefully like and look at. So spring is indeed like that philosophical and existential and religious, even rebirth and all that. And the white colors and the smells and the growth and the sun comes back. If you live where I am, not am out, but where I live usually, all of that kind of plays right into what Notre Dame's going through this spring. Kind of a rebirth, a rebranding, a new thing, a fresh slate. You got to have a good spring session. You have to. You have to avoid this negativity running in all into the summer. So let's dial it up, light it up. Everybody be excited. Go to the blue and gold game. Support Parker and all the new players that we're going to see. And, of course, Freeman. So that's the next step of this. Have a great spring, and then we have some positivity going into summer. All right, I'm heading back to the pool. See you guys.